tonight, and it's our pleasure to have Jeremy O'Neill Johnson, recruiting writer for Dawgs HQ and On3 Sports, with us. He's on the uh, there we go. Now, sorry about that, Jeremy.
Oh, you good?
I'm sorry about that. I don't know what in the world that was going on, but apparently it had a reverb there. But that was quite impressive, I thought. I could hear from signal.
Yeah.
Jeremy, it's good to have you with us. We wanted to talk a little bit about recruiting. It's the day before or the night before the day. You're actually on the road, I understand, to a commitment ceremony for one of the kids who'll be making a commitment to play college football. But let's talk a little bit about what's going to happen for the University of Georgia specifically. Of course, it's been in the news that we had the big flip. Dylan Rayoli, a long-time commitment for the University of Georgia, quarterback, flipping to Nebraska. Not really a surprise, I suppose, for us after we learned the information that his dad had played at Nebraska and that he had I think, an uncle on staff there.
Staff
Tell,
there.
yeah, yeah. Tell me where we stand right now with the University of Georgia and recruiting. How are things looking at the moment for Georgia?
Well, on the night before, not as the night before Christmas, as some coaches would call it, I think they're in a good time. Man, they got probably the top ranked class if you depending on who you ask. I mean, it's still a very good class of football players, like it has been, every year under Kirby Smart, and this may end up being one of the better classes, with or without Dylan Real. I know everybody that's the big news that came out yesterday, and but still a very good class of football players, and they have a very good quarterback that's already on campus that will sign his name tomorrow. And I really feel like this is one of those classes that be one of the pillars to getting Georgia back, to winning one of those national championships.
As you look at the class, and of course you study these things pretty closely. As you look at the class that Georgia anticipates to sign on the signing day tomorrow, what do you think are the strengths of this class, and do you see any holes that maybe some weaknesses anywhere? Just you know, for the good and the bad, how do you look at this class?
Well, the strengths are going to sound familiar because there are things that have powered this program for the last 4 or 5 years. And speed, size, athleticism, and stuff. Every one of these guys that's going to sign tomorrow has those four traits. I mean, you look at even at the quarterback position, Ryan is a tough guy. I mean, he goes out and gets. I mean, sometimes he's running around and has to make plays on the run and stuff. So, he takes a lot of hits. And you look at some of the guys like Daniel Calhoun, 6'8", almost 350, 60 pounds of just like that's the size that's gonna blow people away. If there's a weakness, I probably would say that the wide receiver group. There's only two of them right now. I think they, probably would have preferred to have a guy or two more, but I think that's going to be an area that they address. Maybe Portal, they got a young man today out from Vanderbilt, so I think they may have already shored that up a little bit. So I think that would probably be the weakness if they didn't get the receivers that necessarily, fill out this class. But I can tell you one thing: it's a tough, fast, physical group of guys that really like playing football. They really love the game of football.
And it looks like, the emphasis has been down in the trenches. Some big individuals on the offensive and defensive line. And of course, as well as I do, it may not be the flashy part of the football game, but that's where most games are won down in the trenches on the offensive and defensive line. And it looks like Georgia may have, put an emphasis on that. And for me, I like that. As much as you want to see the position guys, the headline kind of guys, it's good to have the guys down in there that are going to grind it out and open the holes and close the holes on the offensive and the defensive line. Of course, Georgia getting London Humphreys today. You mentioned that from Vanderbilt through the transfer portal. Any idea that Georgia may be who Georgia may be adding through the portal? Any kind of insight that you have? I know they've been targeting some guys. Any idea of some that might be coming our way?
Yeah, I mean, there will be more. I mean, that will like this will go until mid-January, late January, whenever that drop ad period comes up. So, I mean, it's definitely not over. A guy that I will keep an eye on. I don't know, what the interest will be, but a guy that just kind of caught my attention was Josh Farmer from Florida State that went in the portal the other day.
Yeah.
I want to say yesterday. It's been rumored that he went to Florida. I haven't seen anything official on that, but he's a name that I will keep an eye on. There's a receiver, uh, blanking on his first name, from Michigan State, that in the portal that I believe he's been on campus or he's been in contact with Georgia. I'm not 100% sure on that. So, there's going to be names that pop up, and I don't 100% know who they are, all of them right now. Some of these guys aren't in the portal yet, or they haven't announced the plan, so they don't have to be in a rush. So, that's it's definitely going to be busy over the next couple of weeks, especially once the high school recruiting kind of goes, on the back burner a little bit.
Now, Georgia, of course, yeah, getting ready, getting prepared to play Florida State in the Orange Bowl. Now, on Georgia's side of the portal, of course, you've had several players go into the portal from the University of Georgia. Most of the guys, are very good football players, absolutely. And but some of them, hadn't seen a lot of action on the field. And football players want to play, and I understand that. And so they have the opportunity, perhaps, to go somewhere where they will get more playing time. I think the big surprise for me was Jamon Dumas Johnson entering into the portal. A very good football player and played, pretty good time this year on the field for Georgia. For you, as you look over the Bulldogs who have gone into the portal, any surprises to you about from the current roster of players that have decided to leave the program?
Yeah, Amanda, I think you just kind of hit the one that kind of hit me, but I also get it.
Yeah,
With Jamon Douglas Johnson, I would say Marvin Jones Jr. also was a bit of a surprise as well. I think Jamon he's played a lot of football at Georgia, and I really feel like that room it's gotten really competitive and it's gotten really young. Not to say that he's running from competition or anything like that.
right,
Just you're potentially sharing snaps with a younger player coming back next year. Obviously, Smile Mondon's back.
right.
You got Raylan Wilson, T.K. Allen that were tremendous freshmen that played a lot of snaps in his absence. And then you get even Troy Bowles that'll be there next year. Then you bring in a Justin Williams that will sign on the dotted line tomorrow. That is a five-star monster that is going to be. He's going to have an opportunity to go in and compete in the spring as well. So you know he can go over to Auburn and kind of be, or whoever he goes, you know, and be the guy,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
kind of be
yeah.
and go somewhere and because just play all of the snaps. So you know, I think that was a surprise. And then Marvin Jones Jr. going back to Florida State, back down to Florida. I know he's come down that way, but that was kind of a surprise because he was a starting, rotational type of guy that was playing a lot of football for Georgia. So I wonder I wonder how much more he'll play at Florida State. That'll be interesting. That one was kind of a shock.
Yeah, and, of course, he's a legacy from Florida State. His dad played
Yeah,
for Florida State, and I'm sure that was attraction for him. Just, one other kind of touching on the, Dylan Raiola thing, we have Ryan Puglisi coming in. He's a great quarterback, and, the future looks bright with, Ryan coming in. But with, Raiola, it was kinda sort of a surprise to me, the fact that he moved to Georgia. He played, high school football in Georgia, and, and then the draw to Nebraska. And I don't fault the young man. He's a young man. He wants to go where he wants to go, and he wants to play where he wants to play, and that's okay with me. If he wants to go to Nebraska and that's where he feels like his heart is, then he needs to go there. And that to me, that was a little weird situation, with the fact that he and his family moved to Georgia. And then almost, for me, out of nowhere, is attracted to Nebraska. He makes the visit, and then he makes the commitment. What about you? Is that kinda weird to you that that happened that way?
I mean, it definitely was. It definitely came as a shock. I was just at his last high school game like 3 weeks ago, and he walked out for warm up in a Georgia jumpsuit.
Yeah,
And it's a guy that's been kind of voiced, kind of the person that you talk to, and that you look at leading the group chat with all the other recruits. So I definitely felt like it was a shock. But I mean, he got to make the best decision when it comes to himself. And I think he sees an opportunity to go get on the field at Nebraska. So
right.
that's kind of the you know where I was kind of I get it.
Yeah. And then, and the I don't know if there was coordination in this or whatever the case may be, but, Carson Beck's announcement that he's coming back, next season to play for Georgia kinda coincided with Raioli's announcement that he's flipping to Nebraska. I don't know, how much of a coordination there was with that, but, the fact that Carson said, "Hey, I'm coming back to play for Georgia next year," it kinda counteracted the Raioli announcement that he's going to Nebraska. I'm not a conspiracy, theorist, but that's kind of interesting that that those things happen kind of together. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it tend to happen that way sometimes. I don't know how much coordination there was either, but I do find it kind of interesting that they were both lined up like that. I mean, and they're two moves that they kind of coincide. If Carson Beck doesn't come back to Georgia, I mean, Dylan Raiola stays committed,
Yeah,
but I mean, I think there's probably a better chance. I think there's a chance that hey, you can go in the spring and have an opportunity to compete. For the job. I mean, you look at the room today. You don't know what's going to happen here in the next few weeks, or what would have happened should Carson Beck have gone, to the
right,
NFL or whatever. You just don't know what the scenario would have been. But you look at Gunnar Stockton, Dylan Raiola, and Ryan Publicity. Now, obviously, Gunnar has a 2 or 3 year head start because
right.
he's been there. But Dylan Raiola may think, hey, I can go in there and compete for the job and have a chance to play as a freshman versus I'm blocked behind this guy that I know that's going to be the guy. There will be no open competition. He earned the right to be starter at Georgia. Right?
Yeah, and the fact that the Ohio State quarterback, that entered into the portal, was kinda being, attracted to Nebraska, and all of a sudden he said, "No, I'm gonna pull my hat, from that." That kinda gave you a little indication that that he had some inside information that Raioli might be coming, and congratulations to Fran Brown, the defensive, back coach for, the Georgia now, who's the head coach at Syracuse for picking up some players in the portal. Speaking of that, Dante Williams, of course, the new defensive back, for Georgia coming, to the program from, USC. Looks like a pretty, solid hire to me. What about you? Have you had the opportunity maybe to interact with Dante? Do you know him?
I have not had a chance to interact, but I've heard a lot of great things about him from the guys on board pros that I've covered. He has a great reputation out there as a recruiter. Um, I think this gives Georgia an opportunity to extend their reach even further out there and deeper into that California West Coast, you know, Washington and all that out there to be able to go out there and get those guys. Man, I mean, he's a guy that doesn't just recruit his position group either. I mean, he's landed multiple guys at other positions. Now Georgia now has access to his connections out there. Man, from everything I've heard of him, he's a hard working guy. Young people really seem to know him really well. He really does well in the household with as far as like getting the parents on board as well. So I think that's an opportunity for Georgia to expand their reach even further. They're already recruiting nationally, and I think having California in the fold as well. I
Yeah,
think that's that main impact.
and it just I think it's another indication of the power of Georgia now to be able to go out and get somebody like Dante Williams to come on to the staff. Of course, again, tomorrow is, signing day. Any there's always that drama maybe of a flip from, one program to another. Any kinda inside information? Are we gonna see some flipping going on? Maybe not necessarily with Georgia, but, with, some other, programs, or is it gonna be just that day where everybody does what they're expected to do? Any kind of flipping going on? Do you know of anything?
Well, yeah, I can tell you one thing I do know that when you're dealing with teenagers, you never know exactly what is what until it is what it is.
Yeah,
I can guarantee you that. I do think there will be some flips. I do think there will be some things that happen that aren't even on our radar at the moment that we're not even thinking about because they're in the works.
yeah,
Um, from a Georgia standpoint, the only real thing that I'm watching is what happens with Kate Rose tomorrow. Obviously, we get it to Florida State. There's some buzz, some other programs. Obviously, Georgia's in one of the things in contact. I know Kirby Smart and Will Muschamp went in home with them last week, and I know that visit went well. Auburn's another program that's in there. That's going to be an interesting announcement tomorrow around 1 o'clock. So that's
yeah.
one that you want to pay attention to. If you're just a fan of college football, and if you're a Georgia fan, just keep an eye on it. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think anybody does, but um, that's one to watch. Tyrion Tuggle, he's kind of scheduled some visits. We don't really know exactly what's going to happen with him. He's committed to Georgia and has been forever. He's a quiet guy, so we don't know exactly what's going to happen there. My assumption is that he's going to sign with Georgia and that'll be it. But you know, there's there's some storylines. A young man that reclassed 2024 to 2025, Armando Bunt, big defensive lineman down in South Florida. He's got us been flipping back and forth in his mind. It seems like between Miami and Florida State. He's a five-star defensive lineman that will make his final decision tomorrow. So there's some interesting storylines to watch. But we never know what's going to happen. I mean, I don't think a couple years ago Travis Hunter flipped it back to State.
Yeah.
I think the earliest I heard of that was like the morning of it happening. That was the earliest even buzz of it that I heard. So, that's why it's National Signing Day. It's fun and you never know what we don't know.
Well, if you're a Georgia fan, you're gonna be checking online all day long to, see
Yeah.
what's going on and, to see what's happening. Of course, one other thing with Georgia, and its, anticipation of signing the number 1 class in the, country as many, sources, have, classified Georgia's potential class as the number 1, class in the country. Any other schools that, might, surprise, tomorrow or, really step forward, in recruiting, specifically in the SEC? Any other
I
schools
wouldn't.
that yeah,
Um, I have a school. I'm probably gonna say Alabama. I mean,
yeah,
they're always kind of up there, but they're lurking. Like I think they're class maybe third or fourth right now. But they landed L.T. Overton out of the transfer portal today. Um, you know, they got some stuff on the board tomorrow that if it happens, they got an opportunity to be up there in this thing for this number one ranked class if things go their way tomorrow. I mean, that's a school that I think we kind of forgotten about them. Like, hey, their class is as flashy as it normally is, but look up in tomorrow and they have number one class because they had a young man, 2025 receiver Ryan Williams, 5-star, reclassed and moved up to the 2024 class. I mean, they're gonna have to fight off some other suitors that he's gonna take his time to look around a little bit, but they keep him in the class. That's another 5-star receiver that'll be going to Alabama. So
yeah,
that's the program that I got my eyes on
yeah.
going into tomorrow.
Boy, it's gonna be fun to watch. We're online, we're getting a question about Brock Bowers. I know he said he has not made a decision yet. He's with the team. I guess he's going through some reps and, anticipation of the Orange Bowl. Any news about Brock? He hadn't said definitively that he's going to the NFL. My assumption is that he'll do that, but I don't know. Any insight into that situation?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know a lot about that situation. I don't think it's still that time will tell. I think make his announcement whenever he decides it's appropriate. But you know, that's one that's it's understandable if he's going. Like, he's played a lot of good football at Georgia. He really high draft pick for the next couple months. So
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
maybe that's one that turns the page. I don't know. Maybe he comes back because Carson Wentz back. Hey, make one more run in this thing. So
Hey,
I don't know. I don't
yeah,
know.
winning 3 out of 4 years wouldn't be, wouldn't be bad. So, if he wants to come back. Quickly, what about Georgia, Florida State in anticipation of the Orange Bowl? I think it's gonna be a very good football, game. Now guys who are opting out and who are not playing, I think Florida State may get hit, pretty good as well as Georgia is getting hit. And as you look at that game, anticipate that game, I think that should be a fun game. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a fun game just because it's two fan bases, two programs that haven't played in a while. I mean, if you want to think about it, I mean, Florida State is kind of that program that just kind of they're down there in South Georgia recruiting the same guys that Georgia
Yeah.
recruit every year, and that's kind of where Kirby Smart. And, they need to go down there and make a statement. Hey, we're the program you want to come to, not the team down here in South. Right across the border. So it's a bit of a opportunity for Georgia or Florida State to make a statement on the recruiting side of things. And as far as the game, I think it's an opportunity for a lot of players that we haven't seen a lot of that have kind of been down the depth chart a little bit, come in and actually get some reps. It's real meaningful snaps, kind of make an early impression going into spring. Feel some momentum going into it. Like you said, there's a lot of opt outs and there is some juice that has come out of this game because of it. I mean, I don't think Florida State will have their quarterback. I know he's injured, so they're already down right there. And then they lost a couple guys. So, I mean, that's, it's a football game between Georgia and Florida State. To me, that's always going to be big.
Yeah.
I grew up in the era where Florida State was the king. So it's definitely going to be one that I'm interested in how it shakes out.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Now give me your prediction on who's gonna win the national championship. My prediction is Alabama. I'm going with the, Crimson Tide to win it all. Who do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna go with oh man, it's hard to go against Alabama. I really like the Texas. I don't know why. I really feel like they're really solid everywhere. They don't really have like this Larry Cole thing. I really feel like they're the most complete football team right now. I think if Alabama get by Michigan, that'll be tough because you have to beat a team twice.
Right.
Hard to beat Nick Saban twice.
Yeah.
But I just feel like Texas is playing the best football right now. And I'm gonna go with them.
Okay. Well, that basically will be an SEC win. I mean, they're
Yep.
practically in the conference now anyway, so there you go. Well, Jeremy, I appreciate you taking time. I know you're on the way to a, commitment ceremony for a young man who's gonna make a commitment, to play college football for the next level for him. Thank you so much, and we'll be checking in with you tomorrow to find out how things go on the recruiting trail. Thank you for joining us on our program.
Sir. Thank you for having me.
All right, Jeremy O'Neill Johnson of, Dawgs HQ and On3, joining, here talking about recruiting. Now, we'll be keeping an eye on what's happening, tomorrow as we record this program, the evening before, the signing day. It should be exciting, and we're a big day for the University of Georgia. Chris Hall here. Thank you for joining us, and of course, we always close our program with these wonderful words, "Go Dogs."